Good morning, friends. Happy Valentine's Day to you. Today, I want to speak from my DIL SE. And being a Valentine's Day, I want you to wish your parents first. After my last FB Live, where I spoke about the tips for heart disease and diabetes, how to live with heart disease and diabetes, there is a tremendous response for my live. And that response was so encouraging for me that I thought that I'll speak second time again on some important topic. This today being a Valentine's Day, Lovers Day, I thought that we should care for our heart as well as for those who loved us. So today my topic is on care your heart and your loved ones. I'm not a motivational speaker. I want to give only some scientific data to you. My today's talk is divided into 5 parts: heart and love, heart and emotions, heart and stress, heart and memories, and heart and age. Some newer concepts I like to highlight. And during this time after my talk, also in between, I like to chat with you people and take your calls and your questions. Let us come to the first heart and love. The God has created such a beautiful organ called heart. All the organs in our body are very important. Even a small pain in a small little finger also hurts us. But there are some organs which are more important, and heart is the most important organ which God felt. Because nowadays when we see love means it is expressed in heart. The emojis are sent when heart is beating, because that is how to express love and affection towards anybody whom we like. God has created this heart in a central part of the body with all protection, because as you know that it is in the central part of the body, covered with bones, cartilages, muscles, very deep inside, and also has a protection by lungs surrounding. So therefore it is very difficult for somebody to get the affection of the heart trauma, especially because it's well protected. In fact, as you know that heart has got a covering called pericardium, and heart floats inside the fluid of the pericardium. So this is so much protection is given by the heart, by the God to us. And heart as such, since the ages, from Upanishads onwards, we can see that heart represents love. And it is the first organ to develop in the human body. When mother, just before she comes to know that she is pregnant, at the 3rd week of her pregnancy, the heart tube starts. So it is the first organ to develop in the body. And also it has got an intrinsic nervous system. There are almost 50,000 independent neurons are there in the heart. And also you know that heart starts beating by itself. It has got a pacemaker by itself. It is not dependent on any brain activity. So when the heart stops, we know the brain stops within 7 to 8 minutes. But when brain stops, heart need not stop, as evidenced by sometimes you find patients with trauma, road traffic accident. When the brain dead occurs, brain dead patients, still the heart will start beating. It shows that the heart and brain have a complex relation to each other. Other important facts is electrical activity of heart is almost 100 times more than the brain, and the magnetic field is almost 5,000 times of the brain. So therefore, there is something between heart and brain. There are connections are both the ways. There are 4 major ways how heart is connected to brain and vice versa. One is neurologically, other one is biochemically, like through hormones. The third one is biophysically, through the pressure waves, and last one is energetically. That means the electromagnetic field interface is also the part of the reactions between two. There is a organ called amygdala. Amygdala is an olive-shaped part of the brain. It is called it controls the emotions. Therefore, they call it as emotional cortex. Now, as we know that the brain controls, not totally. Whether heart controls the brain? Yes, to some extent. So I like to give some newer advances of thinking about how heart controls the brain today. There is one hormone called oxytocin. This is a neuropeptide. It is called love hormone. It is produced by the hypothalamus and released by the pituitary gland. All this time we were thinking that the brain controls the release of oxytocin, because oxytocin plays a major role in empathy, social bonding, hugging, kissing. It's a love hormone. And also it plays a major role in reproduction, childbirth, lactation. And also it plays a major role in orgasm. So recent studies shows that the receptors are there, oxytocin receptors are there even in heart and vena cava as well as aorta, and they mediate the atrionatriuretic peptide hormone, which regulates the heart rate as well as the vascular tone. That means to say that heart can control some of its function. At the same time, the emotional changes which occurs in the heart, also it sends signals to the brain, so that it alters the brain function also. So there is the connection between brain and heart is a little complex wise. Now coming to the what are the role which the brain controls the heart? Yes, brain controls the heart through neurologically, but there is a interface between the two when it plays a major role in bringing the feeling of togetherness, compassion, harmony, love and peace. So this is about heart and love. My second part is heart and emotions. Now, emotions, all of us, we have emotions. It is a part of our life. And emotions are directly linked to heart and extraordinarily sensitive. Heart is very extraordinarily sensitive to emotions. Fear or grief causes profound cardiac injury. I like to highlight, today I didn't want to discuss anything about disease, but there is one syndrome called broken heart syndrome. This is also called as Takotsubo cardiomyopathy. What is this broken heart syndrome? You might have seen that some of the people in their life, if they have broken heart because of their relationship breaks, or they lose somebody, very loved ones, sudden death occurs, that causes extreme grief. When the extreme grief occurs or broken heart occurs, it causes profound cardiac injury. And there is, that word is called Takotsubo in Japan. Takotsubo means it is a Japanese octopus trap. It is like a catcher. It has got a short neck with a ballooned up body. So what happens is heart suddenly becomes ballooned up. All the chambers of the heart suddenly balloons up, and it causes what is called as heart attack like situation, myocardial infarction like situation, because of the extreme severe emotional stress. What happens is there is a surge of catecholamines which are released into the body. Because of that, the heart failure occurs. The arrhythmias, what we call it as irregular heart rate occurs, and heart failure, heart balloons up, and it can even lead to deaths. So this is one important clinical feature we get in broken heart syndrome, where when we do an angiogram in this type of patients, we find they have normal coronary arteries. However, most of them will recover. That is one good thing, but a few of them may succumb also. And almost all the time, this broken heart syndrome is common in women. So they have to be very, very careful, because we should not have our emotions which go out of hand. So emotional cortex is amygdala. So why this happens? What is the relationship with emotion and heart? Now, there was a study in Boston where they did a PET CT scan of amygdala region. And they found that when the amygdala activity increases, they also depicted in the vascular inflammation. So the blood vessels shows inflammation, which also leads to the cardiovascular events in the form of stroke as well as the heart attack. So emotions, we know that there are two types of emotions which we always in our day-to-day life, we feel that. There are positive emotions and negative emotions. What are the positive emotions? Being cheerful. So there is a recent study by American Journal of Cardiology which shows that happy, cheerful individuals have lower risk of heart disease and heart attack. So therefore, you want to have a good heart, be cheerful. But what about the negative emotions? Negative emotions are really powerful. Actually, they take over the positive emotions. And particularly, I like to highlight about the type A personality. In our day-to-day time, we find some people who are very restless, frustrated, always they are agitated. In fact, you find that they are called type A personality. I want you to be a type B personality because type B personality are cool, their heart rate is low, they react very slowly, methodically. So in type A personality, what happens? They have an intrinsic heart rate always above 80, 90 like that. So they have a high heart rate at rest and it increases on agitation. So that is not good for the heart. Therefore, we have to be, you have to become from negative to positive emotions. And most of the time, this is also known that the dissipation of the emotions, particularly in women, it takes longer time for them to dissipate, and they have higher prevalence of emotions liability. Now, how to control emotions? It's very easy to tell, but we should know that how to control emotions. I like to tell about 6 steps by Dr. Carmen Herrera. She's a famous psychologist from USA. She has given 6 steps to control our emotions. Let me tell that, and we'll see. We'll try to involve in our day-to-day life. First thing is, do not react right away. So when some emotionally you get upset, don't react. Just keep quiet. Maybe you can count 1 to 10 to reduce the emotional instability. Second thing is, ask for divine guidance. This always I believe. So what happens is, you are emotionally highly disturbed, then just close your eyes, count 1 to 10, and at the same time chant shlokas or om or any religious prayer, whichever religion you belong. In fact, divine interventions, divine guidance is always very useful for controlling the emotions. The third is engaging in aggressive exercise. For example, you are emotionally disturbed. What you have to do? There are some simple way of aggressive exercises. First thing is take a pillow, scream into a pillow. That is a type of penting up emotions can be let it go. Or take a punching bag and start punching. Or even kickboxing or martial arts. Martial arts, these are all a few extreme, the aggressive exercise which you do it, you can reduce the emotions. Then the fourth one is see a bigger picture. So always we think that something has happened to us, something love has broken. It is not. You see a bigger picture. Probably we have to come out of that crisis. Probably we will get a better person later. That also is possibility. So look for a bigger picture. Don't bottle up the emotions. No pent up of sentiments. Let it go. That is what you have to do. The other thing is replace your thoughts. Suppose if you are having a negative thoughts, try to replace with a positive thoughts. And also, you have to have something called as forgiveness. You forgive your emotional triggers. Who are all your emotional triggers? Maybe your spouse or your children or your friends. They are the triggers, and just forgive them. You will be all right. Because if you keep you pent up your sentiments inside, it keeps in your mind for a long time for it to dissipate. So another important thing is the deep breathing, like pranayamas, helps to overcome the emotional instability. So the third thing is what I want to speak is about the heart and stress. This is very important. Now, in our life, who is not stressful? If stress is not, stress is part of our life. If we are too much stressful, it affects our body. There are reports from American Journal of Cardiology which shows that chronic psychosocial and mental stress accelerates the cardiovascular disease by promoting inflammation in the arteries, oxidative stress injury, as well as endothelial dysfunction. This is the study which has shown. Yes, the stress is very has to be managed. Everybody is stressed because the stress is present not only in working people, even the people who are staying in home also, homemakers also have stress. Therefore, we should try to manage the stress in such a way that we can overcome the stress, and we should remove this mental stress, chronic mental stress disease. There are some 15 stress busters advised by Dr. Edward L. Hurst from USA. So what are these 15 stress busters? Maybe it may be useful to you. So let me highlight about these 15 stress busters. The first one is deep breathing, which I already told that if you start counting 1 to 10, your stress will reduce. The second one is brisk walking. You just go for a walk, it will reduce the stress. The third thing is very interesting is LOL, that is laugh out loudly. So you might have seen that when you go for morning walk, some people in the parks will be having some 8-10 people will have a laughter club, and they keep on laughing without any stimulus. That means just laughing itself will bring out the stress. The fourth one is music, which I always believe because I'm a singer and I love music very much. So when you hear when you hear a song, good song, or you try to sing, it will also is a good stress buster. The fifth one is just go for gym activity or dancing or an aerobic or a swimming or an yoga. This also reduces the stress. And a very interesting another point how to reduce the stress is warm bathtub. Suppose if you have a bathtub, you put warm water into that, eucalyptus oil or a lavender essential oil. Take a warm, you sit in the, lie down in the warm bathtub, it will reduce your stress. If you don't have bathtub, you can take a warm shower, which also helps. The other one is for ladies especially, if you are too much stress, get into cooking. If you go to a kitchen and start cooking, it also reduces the stress. And there are a few you can do it creative arts like painting. Some of these creative arts will also reduce the stress. Other people, just if you are too much stress, you just go to nature. That is, go get into garden. It will reduce. The other thing is that about the massages. Suppose if you take a massage, Ayurvedic massage or whatever, once in 1 or 2 times a month, it will be helpful to reduce the stress. The other important thing in our life is hit the sheets. Hit the sheet is important because the natural sex can actually decrease the stress. And hugging and kissing also reduces the stress. Other point is cuddle up with a pet. Suppose if you have a pet at home, a dog or a cat, cuddle up with the pet, it reduces stress. Some of the acupuncture techniques will reduce the stress. And suppose all these things, 14, if you have not followed, you're not able to follow, just call a friend, whomever you think that you are close to, a bosom friend, you can call and speak out. That also reduces the stress. So these are some of the 15 stress busters can be followed up. Now, how to cope up with chronic stress? There are 10 ways to cope up with the chronic stress. How to, suppose, rebalance the work and home. Very important. See, all of us, we go for work. But what we do is when there is some tension at workplace, we bring the tension at home and start shouting at people who are at home. It is wrong. At the same way, if there are tension at home, don't take this tension to your workplace and start shouting at your juniors. It is wrong. So therefore, home and office should be disconnected as much as possible, and we should rebalance our work and home together. And the other thing is that to cope up with chronic stress is spend more time with family and friends. And another important aspect is build up a exercise protocol. This is very important because I always believe that every day you should have an exercise protocol. It is not just like every day you should get up at this specific time. Suppose if you can't go in the morning hours for walk or a gym or any physical activity, you want to choose the evening hours, you can choose. But you make it a protocol because it should not vary from time to time, so that day you spend it in a useful day. Then eat well. Eating well, good healthy diet is very important. At the same time, chill out a day. Once a week, you chill out, go out, eat. It's called eating cheating day. That's a cheat day. So you can eat whatever you want one day in a week, whatever you like to eat. But because other 6 days, you are very strict. So partying once a week is also a type of coping with chronic stress. The other important aspect is connect with supportive people. So you choose your friends who have positive attitude in their life. Do shy away from the negative attitude people. Just connect it with your only positive, happy time. And also hobby time is important. You have your hobby, please follow the hobby. Meditation, yoga also will reduce the chronic stress. And enough sleep is very important because sleep also reduces the inflammation. It increases the immunity. Therefore, enough sleep is very important, as I have told you in the last my FP live. Bond with your pet, which I have already highlighted. Now, fourth, my talk is heart and memories. It's a very interesting topic because all these days we think that memory means it is in the brain. because it is memory is stored in the brain. Yes, it is a neurological, neuronal memory which is stored in the brain. But there is a new concept called cellular memory. So cellular memory are stored in the organ. Although this concept requires some more newer investigations and some more reports have to come, because scientific evidence still emerging. What is this cellular memory? Neuronal memory in brain, cellular memory in the organ which is transplanted. There was a study done by Dr. Paul Paisel in US from University of Hawaii. He took 10 cases of heart transplant patients. So those patients who have undergone heart transplant, and he studied them, and he came to a conclusion that, although it's a very small study, these people who have received the heart from different individuals, that is brain dead people because of trauma, they have donated the heart, and they are dead, but the heart has come to these people, and they found that most of these people are trying to mimic those characteristic of the brain dead person whom they got the organs. So this is called cellular memory, which is yet to be proved in fully, but it is also part of the heart and memories. My last topic is on heart and age. This is a newer concept. What is age? Now, somebody asks you how old you are. We will tell you we'll tell what age we tell is a chronological age. That means we are 40-year-old, 50-year-old, 60-year-old. It is a chronological age. But there is a new concept called heart and age. What is cardiac age? What is vascular age? So it is how old your arteries matters, not the chronological age. For example, 17th century physician, his name is Thomas Sydenham. He made a statement. A man is as old as his arteries. Excellent statement. A man is as old as his arteries. That means to say that how old are you is not the number of candles on your birthday cake, but how old are you, how old are your arteries, what matters. And how do you nurture it, what matters. Because nowadays, last talk I have given, I told about the heart disease in young people. So that means nowadays, what is the chronological age? His age will be 40 years. But if you look at his arteries, heart arteries, it will be 60-year-old. That means his vascular age is 60 years, but his chronological age is 40 years, which is not an ideal candidate. That means your vascular age will be more than your chronological age, but this is because you have not nurtured your arteries in younger age. So how to nurture your arteries? Because you have to prevent the assault on the arteries. How the assault occurs? Assault occurs because of our habits. Smoking will cause bad food, smoking, stress, air pollution. These are all the assaults which occur on the arteries. Therefore, our vascular age is always higher than the chronological age. So I want to know what is my vascular age. So how do you assess? We assess the vascular age by two types of investigations. One is pulse wave velocity, which is done in the hospital. The second one is also called as carotid artery intima media thickness. That is called CIMT, carotid artery intima media thickness. That means we have arteries which supply blood to the brain, which is called carotid arteries, which is palpable here. Anybody can see, palpate it. And we measure the intima media. It is a type of, the arteries has got different portions to define. And intima media thickness we measure, and we can absolutely tell what is the vascular age of that person. So this is clinically, we can do it at a hospital. But all of us need not go to the hospital. There is a different way of calculating our vascular age. How is it done? All of us have smartphone. Please go to an app called ASCVD Risk Estimation Plus app. This is by the American Heart Association, American College of Cardiology. They have an app. You can go to app, download the app. It shows the atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease estimation. So in that, what happens is, you can enter the app. This app is used between 20 years to 79 years, not below 20 years, not above 80 years. Between this, you have to keep on filling the app numbers. It will give the risk. For example, what are the in app? What are the things which are present? First is age. You can enter the age. Then sex, male or female. Then race, white and non-white. Then blood pressure, systolic pressure and blood diastolic pressure. Total cholesterol. Then good cholesterol called HDL cholesterol. Then LDL cholesterol, which is bad cholesterol. Then smoking plus or minus. Then if you are high blood pressure patient, hypertension plus or minus. If you are diabetic, plus or minus. And if you are taking tablet for cholesterol, plus. And if you are taking an aspirin as a protection, plus. So these are all some of the columns which are there in ASCVD risk calculator. And if you calculate that, today also you can come to know that what is your vascular age, what is your risk for next 10 years. So this risk is assessed for the next 10 years. What is the risk for? Risk for life, risk for any cardiovascular event. What is cardiovascular event? It can be a stroke, it can be a heart attack, it can be peripheral artery disease, and so on and so forth. It's a vascular event can be predicted. Suppose if you calculate according to using the smartphone with this ASCVD app, then your risk comes less than 5%. That means you have a very low risk. So if you have very low risk, that means you are leading a good life, a healthy life, and your vascular age is almost equal to your chronological age. By chance, if your risk is between 5 to 7.4, then it is a borderline risk. You should be a little careful. Try to modify. Lifestyle modification is important, what it shows. Suppose if your risk is 7.5 to 19.9, that means you are at intermediate risk. That time you require some intervention. So you have to consult a cardiologist or a physician and modify your diet or drugs or whatever is required. And suppose if your risk is more than 20%, you are at very high risk, where we do interventions in the form of not only the diet interventions, we also intervene according to the risk involvement. So that means these are the risk assessment. If we assess it, then we can come to know at what risk we are and we can plan. That is how it reflects our vascular age. Now, how do you nurture your arteries? Nurturing artery is nothing but lifestyle modification. So healthy diet. Some of the things have shown that garlic usage will help to prevent the atherosclerosis of arteries. That means the cholesterol accumulation in the arteries. And good exercise will help us to nurture our arteries. Good relationship, be positive. Emotional instability should be reduced. Positive thinking and stressless life or control your stress, all will help. Absolutely no smoking. So this is one thing which I always tell my patients. You should never smoke, whatever is the thing. And if you stop smoking today, it will take 10 years for you to go to the level of non-smokers. And also, as I've already highlighted, work-life balance is very important. That is how we should think. Now, after this, I like to conclude saying that Buddha says that heart is a golden box for keeping roses of happiness and sweet memories. It is not for tension and sadness. So every day is Valentine's Day. It is not today is Valentine's Day. Every day is Valentine's Day. We should wish our Valentine is our parents. So you should respect them. You should wish them. Today, you please wish your parents first. Then you can wish your loved ones, children, and your friends. I think I like to highlight on this day that the importance of love, heart, age, as well as the cardiac age, as well as the emotions, and how to manage the stress and emotions. And thank you very much. And if there are some chats, I like to look at the chats which are there, which I can answer. And these sessions are encouraging me to speak something different, something encouraging, so to make the society healthy and happy. Thank you very much.